Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Please also share this video via social media and with your friends via email. Thank you for your support. Today, I read several financial news articles. I've included links to the articles in the description below. I encourage you to read the articles to support the authors and news sources. As a private American citizen, I'd like to report and share my transformative thoughts through commentary regarding small sections of these articles that are of public interest. Many Americans are living paycheck to paycheck due to financial stress and because money just isn't stretching far enough because of inflation. Today I read an article on yahoo.com put out by The Hill and written by Julia Shapiro. The article was titled, "Women Bear the Brunt of Financial Stress in the U.S. Economy, Study Says." According to the author, persistent inflation, ballooning debt, and dwindling savings have hit women especially hard. Nearly 6 in 10 women are living paycheck to paycheck, compared to 41% of men, according to a recent study by Vero Bank, Morning Consult, and Thrive Financial Empowerment Services. 1,004 Americans who regularly spend most or all of their income were surveyed for this study. Here are my thoughts. First, my heart goes out to all Americans, including women who are struggling financially and living paycheck to paycheck. I get it, life is expensive, and it seems to get more expensive all the time. There are a lot of hardworking Americans, including women, who are doing their best to provide for themselves and their families. Now, this study had a very small sample size of only 1,004 Americans. Yet, the findings are troubling, especially if they are anywhere near being representative of what is happening across the country. The author of this article goes on to discuss how making less than men affects women. The author indicates that women represent 2/3 of those considered financially fragile, a subset of Americans living paycheck to paycheck who lack any financial slack or support. Again, I hate to hear about things like this. My heart goes out to all of them. Perhaps some could potentially benefit from reading the Total Money Makeover book written by Dave Ramsey. I've included an Amazon affiliate link in the description below to Dave Ramsey's books, including the Total Money Makeover. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. There are some great personal finance strategies in this book that may resonate with everyday Americans who are struggling financially and living paycheck to paycheck. Now, I don't know if this woman was struggling financially, but she got a very nice gift from the Stanley Company. I read an article today on yahoo.com put out by Business Insider and written by Sada Bamia, titled, "A Woman Who Went Viral on TikTok After Saying the Ice in Her Insulated Stanley Cup Survived a Car Fire is Being Offered a New Car by the Bottle Brand." Well, this is a really interesting story. A woman named Danielle had her car destroyed by a fire, but her Stanley insulated mug survived the fire, and there was still ice inside the container. She posted a video about it on TikTok, and apparently it was seen by Stanley's global president, Terrence Riley, who said, and I'll quote, "We've all seen your video. Wow, what an ordeal. And we're all really glad you're safe." He added, "I've seen a lot of comments that we should send you some Stanleys." Well, we're going to send you some Stanleys, but there's one more thing, and we've never done this before, and we'll probably never do it again. But we'd love to replace your vehicle. Yeah, all of us at Stanley, we'd really like to replace your vehicle. Well, how cool is that for Danielle, who sustained all of that damage to her car? That is quite the nice gesture from the Stanley Company. Now, I do have one additional thought regarding all of this. Stanley's global president probably shouldn't have said, "All of us at Stanley, we'd really like to replace your vehicle." I'm sure there are some employees at Stanley who would rather have seen the president split up that money and provide it to the hardworking employees as bonuses. Now, maybe this gesture of goodwill will end up benefiting the Stanley Company financially if they sell more insulated mugs moving forward, and perhaps the employees will reap the financial rewards from that. What do I know? I'm just some guy on YouTube. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I read an interesting article today relating to Americans who are struggling financially, which ties in with the article that I referenced earlier about people living paycheck to paycheck. The article was on Yahoo Finance and written by Kristen Altus, entitled "Americans Stress That Their US Dollars Aren't Stretching Far Enough to Make Up for Inflation." The author of this article indicates millions of Americans have received a pay cut over the past 2 years thanks to high inflation within the U.S. The Department of Labor reported Tuesday that average hourly earnings for all employees was $11.05 in October, a 3.32% decline from the $11.43 figure in January 2021 when Biden took office. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that was a direct quote from the author. I'm not trying to get into some type of political debate here. I'm just reporting what the author wrote. I'm sure some of you may have strong opinions and decide to open up that political can of worms in the comment section below. That is your decision. The author goes on to say the typical U.S. worker is actually worse off today than 2 years ago, even though nominal wages are rising at the fastest pace in years. Hey, I can understand this. Look at the latest CPI report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The cost of shelter has continued to rise month after month after month, and so has food. Those are two things that all Americans need to survive. It's nice there was a big drop in energy, which helped to paint a more rosy overall picture, but many everyday people are having a hard time paying for their overpriced apartment and expensive food at the grocery store to feed their families. Some are also struggling to pay their expensive vehicle insurance or home insurance. Insurance has also continued to rise, which most people need unless their home is paid off and they want to self-insure, or unless their car is paid off and they want to drop their insurance to the state minimum requirements to remain legal. While some companies feel like they are doing you a favor by giving you a small raise, in reality, many are working for less than they were last year when you examine their true cost of living due to inflation today. To my point, the author of this article said the cost of necessities like food, gasoline, rent, and childcare remain far more expensive than they were just 1 year ago. Chronically high prices are forcing Americans to spend about $650 more per month than they did 2 years ago, according to a recent estimate from Moody's Analytics. Well, ladies and gentlemen, $650 more per month is nothing to sneeze at. For some everyday Americans, this could really make their life extremely difficult. This may be why so many everyday Americans are relying on credit cards in order to survive. Credit card debt surpassed $1 trillion this year for the first time ever. And this is at a time when interest on that debt is at a scary high level, which could result in some people getting into a debt spiral that they may have a difficult time getting out of. No matter how you look at it, this situation is not good for many everyday, hardworking Americans. The high cost of living may really be impacting some individuals who have student loans. Apparently, there are some who just can no longer deal with their student loan debt. I read an article today on Yahoo Finance put out by Fox Business and written by Megan Henney, titled "More Student Loan Borrowers Are Filing for Bankruptcy to Offload Debt." When I first read this headline, I was shocked. I was under the impression that student loan debt could not be discharged with bankruptcy. Well, according to the author of this article, a growing number of Americans are filing for bankruptcy in order to offload their student loan debt after a 3-year payment hiatus. The Department of Justice said in a news release published Thursday that 632 borrowers filed to use bankruptcy in order to eliminate student loans in the period from November through September. Now keep in mind, 632 borrowers is a drop in the bucket compared to the approximately 44 million Americans who have student loan debt. I guess some who didn't get their student loan debt forgiven by the government are now looking to use bankruptcy as an alternative. The author of this article indicates the uptick in bankruptcy filings comes 1 year after the Biden administration introduced a new legal pathway that made it easier for borrowers to discharge federal student loan debt in bankruptcy. This is the first I have heard of this. As I said earlier, I was shocked when I read this was possible. The author of this article goes on to say, borrowers must prove they meet 3 criteria in order to offload their student loan debt: lack the ability to repay the loan currently, are unable to repay the loan in the future, and made a good faith effort to repay the loan. Now think about those 3 things for a moment. It could potentially be pretty easy for some people who never graduated from college with a degree, who are underemployed or unemployed, to satisfy those 3 criteria. Perhaps someone who graduated with a degree that is not respected in the labor market could also build a case based on those 3 criteria. I'm just really surprised by all of this. Corporations often file bankruptcy and leave their unsecured creditors in the wind. I guess some everyday Americans can now build a case to discharge their student loan debt through bankruptcy and leave the U.S. government in the wind. If any of you watching this video know of someone who has been able to discharge his or her federal student loan debt by using bankruptcy, please let me know about it in the comment section below. I read some interesting comments beneath this article, so I'm going to share some of them with you. One commenter writes, personal bankruptcy should not be allowed for any reason. If you have debt, you should pay it, even if it takes your entire life and if you have to have your Social Security garnished. Another commenter writes, bankruptcy is just another form of stealing. Should be illegal in most circumstances. Well, what are your thoughts regarding using bankruptcy to discharge student loan debt? I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comment section below. Please keep in mind, nothing in this video is financial advice or advice of any kind. If you need advice, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Please also consider sharing this video via social media or via email with your friends. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. Check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.